growing up and being a girl in tech is like not easy at all. Like you'll be in classrooms and unfortunately, like out of 20 or 25 kids that we had, only 5 of us were girls. I definitely feel like there are some hard moments. You face stereotypes. A lot of people don't really take you seriously.
Hello and welcome to Authentically Cyber. I'm your host, Kathy Chambers, along here with Paola Mendiola. Paola, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you here. I was immediately excited when I saw all the pink. Nobody can see my microphone, but it does match my pink microphone. So good to have some more pink in my life. We are here to talk about your journey, which I'm assuming you're not very old. So I'm assuming your journey into technology started at a very young age. When did you first, get interested in the field?
Like most Gen Z, I grew up with technology, and I remember one of the most like vivid memories that I had. My dad brought home a computer, and ever since then, I remember being addicted to like using computers and technology. I remember, well, in regards to like our computer, I would play games on it. I would use a calculator app. I'd go on YouTube and watch music videos and listen to all my parents' his like favorite music on there. And it's just I've grown up with computers my whole life, so I remember when I was a little older, when I was in middle school, my dad, he got me a little laptop, my own little personal laptop. I didn't have to use a family computer anymore. But I do remember this one time, my laptop did not work like at all. And I was like, oh my gosh, like what's wrong with my laptop? And I remember I wanted to find out like what was wrong with it. And I remember opening it up and seeing that the battery was all swollen. I was like, oh my gosh, like what can I do? I ordered a new battery, and 14-year-old me went in there, screwed out the battery, put in a new battery. And ever since then, I was like, oh my gosh, like I want to pursue computers and technology. So I think
That's
those are the
awesome.
moments.
Very similar stories when I talk to people. That's one of the main things. As soon as they literally got their hands on it and was able to like take it apart and put it together. That's very common in cyber. A lot of people love that aspect of getting their hands dirty, so to speak, and like getting their hands on the equipment. So that's super cool. A lot of people my age didn't have their first computers until high school or college.
Hmm.
And then my kids at a very young age where they were on a laptop or they have their phones. It's just second nature, right? It's so crazy watching you guys grow up through this era. Do you think that's helpful in cyber? Do you think that because you guys have always grown up with technology that it's easier for you to get into the field, or do you think that your generation is going to face a lot of the same challenges?
I definitely think it's going to make it much easier. I mean, we have access to it all the time. We know what we're working with. You'll have some kids like really young, iPads and their phones and stuff. I feel like definitely the more time that you're with something, the more that you'll definitely know about it. So I definitely feel like it'll help us out in the long term.
Let's talk about when you started studying at technology and studying cybersecurity. What kind of challenges did you face? Even though you've grown up with technology, what were some of the harder things that you've had to get past?
So I did start learning about technology when I was 14. So back when I was in middle school, I applied to a local high school's vocational IT and cybersecurity program. And since then, I was enrolled there. I finished my 4 years of high school there. Very fortunate. I learned a lot. I got familiar with Cisco and all their cool stuff and their, routers and switches and all that cool stuff. But definitely one of the hardest things growing up and being a girl in tech is like not easy at all. Like you'll be in classrooms, and unfortunately, like out of 20 or 25 kids that we had, only 5 of us were girls. I remember my teacher, he was really happy when he's like, this is like the largest group of girls like I've ever had, like of any of my classes. I definitely feel like there are some hard moments. You face stereotypes. A lot of people don't really take you seriously because they're like, oh, you're just a girl, what do you know? But I would definitely describe that as one of the hard obstacles that I'd had to, me and alongside other girls, have to face when we're in the field.
That's so interesting that you say that because it's 2026. And
Yeah.
every year I hope that we can move past that, and we haven't, unfortunately. We had talked about one of your passions is helping young ladies get into the field and get interested in technology, interested in cyber. What are some things that you're doing right now to help you with that goal?
So right now, one of the big things is I've recently, as I when I was younger, when I was in high school, all of this kind of dates back to like high school. But when I was in high school, I applied for the NC Wood Awards, so the National Center for Women and in information technology awards. They have like a whole section for high school students, and I remember applying, and I got awarded for like my aspirations in computing, and it felt, I don't know, it meant the whole world to me. And so I filled out the application like I believe 3 years out of my high school years, because one of those years it was during the pandemic. But those 3 years I was awarded, and it felt awesome. And going to like the award ceremony and seeing other girls, it like really truly inspired me to continue. And so now, after I graduated from high school, now in college, I have volunteered. I've reviewed applications for the same program, and so it's super awesome looking back and seeing all the accomplishments that all these young girls are doing. It makes me very happy and it makes me very proud. But that's one of the things that I've done so far, volunteered with NC Wit. Additionally, I've also recently just started, oh, well, not recently, but it's been 2 years since I've started a local little early career professional group here in Las Vegas. So it's just dedicated to uplifting those that are barely starting their careers in IT and cybersecurity and tech in general. So those are kind of the two things that I'm doing right now to try to uplift and kind of, help out my local community. But it's been amazing and I love doing it. And I've mentioned to you earlier that like my aspiration is to one day become a teacher. So I feel like these two things have definitely helped me out there.
Do you think that you've always had a passion for giving back and helping lift others up? Or do you think your experiences throughout high school and getting into technology and seeing the limited amount of young women kind of inspired you to go that route? Or is that something that's kind of like always been in you? And I say that because I've met a lot of people who from a young age you could tell they're going to be a teacher or they're going to be a mentor, or they're ready to give back. Did that start at like, growing up, were you like that? Or was that something you experienced in high school?
Probably something I experienced in high school. I don't think when I was younger, I didn't really see myself as a teacher. I looked up to my teachers, don't get me wrong. I was like, these are like the most amazing people in the world. My parents, they used to be teachers as well. So, like, definitely, like, I looked up to teachers, but I never really envisioned myself being a teacher. I kind of envisioned myself, fixing computers or just doing something cool like that, being a lawyer or something along those lines. But now, as I've grown up, and as I've realized how sparse and how little resources there are for girls, I'm just kind of I feel like just dedicating my life to just helping and uplifting others.
That's awesome. That is so good to hear. Right now, though, you also work for
The women.
WSC. Yeah, what is
Yes. Yeah, so I currently work for the Women's Society of CyberJitsu. So we're a nonprofit dedicating to uplifting and empowering women to enter the cybersecurity field. So I love uplifting women in tech, but right now I am working specifically in the cybersecurity field. So helping women and minorities get into cybersecurity. And that's through providing programs, free resources, all this amazing stuff here in the state of Nevada.
so right now you had shared with me that you're working on your capstone project. Okay, that's a WGU, correct?
Yeah.
So first of all, congratulations. I will tell you that I think off the top of my head, at least 5 people who have went through that program, and they're all successful. So I have not been through the program, but I've heard so many wonderful things and so many success stories. So I'm happy for you that you're there. I'm happy that you're almost done. Just have to finish that project. Talk to me a little bit about that career, not career, but that part of your learning journey
Mm.
and what you're focused on, and especially your capstone. What are you doing for that?
Mm. All right. So, just kind of to give a little preface, I went to the College of Southern Nevada for my associate's degree. So, I've finished my associate's in cybersecurity, digital forensics, and I moved into WGU for a bachelor's of science in network engineering and security. So, right now, that capstone, after completing all the classes that I needed to fulfill, I'm working on my capstone, and the capstone is essentially creating this like huge, not huge, but creating a network and essentially plugging everything in, configuring it. And my final capstone is to create a functionality report. So being able to prove that my network works and that I just didn't submit a screenshot and called it a day. So it's been pretty good. I kid you not. There have been times where I'm like, oh my gosh, this capstone is getting to me. Like, there have been times where I actually feel like shedding a tear because I'm like, I've been working here for like 7 hours and I still can't get it done. But I'm really proud of myself because I'm probably, out of all my cousins and everyone that I have here, I'm probably going to be like the first to get their bachelor's degree. So regardless of like, the hardship that I have, even if I'm struggling, I'm like, man, like I gotta, gotta be a good example for like my younger cousins and my other cousins out there, my family members and all that sort of stuff. But it's been good. I like it. Like I said, it's for my bachelor's in network engineering and security. So it's just right up my alley. I'm just super excited to get it done though. Yeah.
That's awesome because, I talked to quite a few people who have told me that when they enter the cybersecurity field and they're kind of like going through, learning the foundation, that networking's the hardest. So you're like, I'm just going to go that route. So
Yeah.
like, I feel like, you chose the path less traveled. Like you were like, nope, I want to be in networking, which I think is a
Mhm.
wonderful. Besides, so did that, I don't want to use the word easy. Nothing is easy on life. But what was it about networking that attracted you? I'm really curious.
Mm. So a lot of people in cybersecurity, at least a lot of people, I don't know. I want to say I'm kind of on the wagon that in order to learn cybersecurity and in order to be successful in cybersecurity, you have to know networking. That's just me though. That I'm on that bandwagon.
That's a lot. Yeah, yeah. I've heard a lot of people say that. Really recently, like in the last 3 podcasts I've listened to, how important that is. So I didn't
Mm.
mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to say, like, you have some fans. There's other people in that corner. So go, yeah. So anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Continue
No, no,
why
no.
you chose
No,
networking.
all good, all good. I'm glad that other people are on this bandwagon too. But I mean, at least one of the things that I've heard some people say is you can't protect a network that you don't know. So I'm a firm believer of that. And so that's why I kind of jumped into networking. I was like, you know what? Like you said, it's kind of one of those paths that is like less, traveled. And I was like, you know what? Why not? Why not? I think it'd look cool. And I mean, I already kind of have my associates in cyber. I was like, you know what? Why not jump into networking and kind of go on from there? See if I like it. If not, I can always just go, hopefully, for my master's in cyber, go back to the cyber path. But I've liked it so far. I enjoyed it a lot. I like looking at those. I like looking at subnets. I like looking at all those numbers. Call me a freak for that, but I love it. So I'm thinking of just continuing that. Hopefully.
I am not going to call you a freak. Maybe a nerd. Can we go there? Maybe a
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
little nerd, little bit.
Oh,
Not a
tiny.
freak. No, I think it's cool because we need people like you in the field that enjoy that part because that's so important. I think it's funny that you said I chose it because it sounds cool.
Yeah, it does. Like, oh yeah, I'm a network engineer. Like that just sounds so cool. Sounds so cool.
That's funny because it reminds me of I was hosting a show once at at IT Pro TV, and
What?
that
Really?
yeah 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 I
What
used to
are
work
you?
there.
What? I kid you not. Like for with WGU, one of our classes was literally like when like that's one of the series that they were like, hey, watch this or I
No, I'm
forgot
not
what class.
surprised. It's everywhere. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so that's awesome. I guess you probably don't remember like who the hosts were or anything at that time, do you?
Um, no.
No, okay. I was just curious. But anyway, I was hosting one of the shows and it's the first time I heard threat hunter because you said network engineering sounded real cool. And I was like, "Did you just say threat hunter?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Man, that sounds badass." Like, I want to be a threat hunter because I think that's awesome to have that on like a business card. Like, what do you
I
do?
know.
I'm a
Yep.
threat hunter. Like, nobody outside of the industry would probably even know what that meant. I just thought it sounded like super cool. So I think that's awesome that you chose it for the name. That's
Yeah, no, it's valid. 300 is that sounds so legit and that sounds so cool. Like, who wouldn't want to?
Did you just say I thought I heard masters in there. Are you thinking about going to get your master's degree too? And if so, what would that be in?
Yes. So I told myself, you know what? If I'm gonna study, might as well go big or go home. And I've just kind of been thinking about it. I'm like, I would really love to go for my master's. Right now, I'm eyeing the Master's of Business Administration in IT Management. I don't know. I thought of doing
Hmm.
that. I know it's kind of a little different from network engineering. It's definitely more on the business side of it, but I just thought it'd be really cool. I think it works pretty well, especially with the role that I'm in right now, like program managing. I'm like, you know what? It'd be cool to have like a little bit more of a background. Maybe not jump into something technical, but jump into something, more on the business side so I can if I do work for once I get like my first official big girl full-time job, like I can have both the technical and the, business side of it, make me a well-rounded person.
Yeah, I think that's really smart. I also was sitting here the whole time you're talking and thinking, Man, it must be nice to be as smart as you because I mean, I don't know you. I haven't seen like your transcripts. You're obviously really smart because you're just like doing all these very hard things because you think they're cool.
Yeah,
That's
no, that's
awesome. That's awesome. Have you always been like that? Like, or did this start, when you got older, you started taking school more seriously? Or have you always, been like teacher's pet, like smart kid? Has that been you?
yeah, I think most of my friends and most of the people that have known me as like the nerdy girl that like I kid like I first thing I'd do like do my homework, like that's literally all I would do. Like I'd come home from school, I'd work on my work, and then do all the fun stuff. I've kind of always been like that. I love school. I know it's kind of a shocker for someone that wants to get into education. I love school, but I do. I truly love school. It makes me really happy. I believe I'm like one of like I'll die on this hill. I think education is like the most important, like knowledge education is like the most important thing that a person can like obtain. Like it's super important, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity that I'm given to study. I know lots of people elsewhere, unfortunately, do not have the opportunities to, get a full on bachelor's, get a master's, get an associate's, or go to school at all. So I'm taking advantage of the fact that, hey, if I have access to it, like I will do my best. I will work hard. I will pay for it somehow, but I will get it done.
So now I have mixed feelings because, like, part of me is the industry really needs people like you. And I mean, like, in cyber, like, helping defend our country, right?
Hmm.
But then on the other side, our country also really needs teachers. So I'm like, do we want her in the field or do we want her in the classroom? Because your end goal is to be in the classroom, which I think is very honorable and awesome. I think that's really cool. But you did share with me that before you go in the classroom, you are going to try to get some kind of cyber experience, right? So you can take that back to your students. What are you eyeing there? Like, what would be a good situation for you there?
Hmm. So I was mentioning to you a little earlier that I'd love to go into like the managing side of cybersecurity, but there are parts of me where I'm like, man, I would love to be like an ethical hacker, like a pen tester, like being able to tell my students like, hey guys, like this is what I did, and like this is I was an ethical hacker. Like I would just love to see like the spark in their eyes when they're like ethical hacker, like how does that work, or like what is that? Like I'd love to be able to explain that to my students. So if I don't go into managing, I definitely go the pen testing route. I just think it's super cool. Like, oh, business card once again, like ethical hacker, threat hunter, like all that sort of stuff just sounds so cool. So I definitely go that route.
We talked about your interest in technology and about how you kind of grew up with it and your generation has just grown up with tech. What is it though about cybersecurity that attracts you? Like, what do you like about that field?
Hmm. It's just the idea of keeping others safe. I think my main mission is just to serve other people, and I feel like cybersecurity does a really good job of that. Like it mixes in both my love for technical, for everything technical, and my love for like helping others. I think cybersecurity just mixes those in just so perfectly.
Do you have any ideas or any thoughts around what you could do personally throughout your journey, whether it be at your first job or when you go back to teach, to encourage more young ladies to join the field? Have you had any thoughts or ideas about how to do that?
One of the things that I want to do right now, at least, is I want to partner with my local NC Wit chapter to create like a little like alumni, or create a little group where I can, meet up with the younger participants or those awardees that, have just graduated, and kind of like talk with them and kind of give them, I guess, advice, or give them like some insight on what my career was like, and all that sort of stuff. I think that's one of the things that I want to focus on, giving back to my local community and being like, hey guys, like I was once in your shoes, this is what I'm doing now. I think that'd be really awesome to not only inspire the ones that are still in high school, but to also inspire the ones that maybe have just graduated and don't really know what to do.
What would you say to somebody at the older generation? Like, if somebody came to you, maybe it's an aunt or uncle and they're in their 30s or 40s, and they come to you and they say, hey, I am thinking about switching careers and I'm thinking about going into cybersecurity. From your, like, what kind of advice would you give somebody in the older generation learning and knowing what you know now?
I'd be like, jump right in. Like, there's a seat for you right here. No, but I'm being serious. I feel like cybersecurity has a space for everyone. And the cool thing that I love about the tech field is that you don't really have to have a degree in order to go into like a role. Like, obviously, a degree is awesome, but I feel like, there's a space for everyone as long as you're studying, you're getting those certifications, or as long as, you're putting in effort into projects and all that sort of stuff. Like, there's a space for you. So I'd be like, come on, come on. Like, there's a seat for you, like right here. Like, sit right next to me.
I just love your personality. How you want to reach out and help everybody and be a teacher. Like, I love you. I know we just met. Like, this is our first like,
Yeah.
one-on-one. I can already tell. You're awesome. I think you're going to be
Oh,
super successful in everything that you do. Before I let you go though, we had talked about it being very important to you that more young ladies get into the field and that you inspire more minorities to get into the field. If there is a young lady or a minority listening to this right now, what kind of advice would you give them?
just go for it. I know it can be like really hard and intimidating, especially when you're going to in-person events. Maybe you're going to a conference, or yeah, maybe you have a friend that invited you to like a cybersecurity conference or a tech conference or some sort of event. Like, go for it and attend it. Definitely one of the things that has helped me the most, like, when it comes to opening up and, having these goals and, reaching out to people and all that sort of stuff. Something that's definitely helped me is, going to those events. The piece of advice, the biggest piece, I'd say, connect with people, and you will see that that will take you very, very far.
What would you say to the people who are really nervous about that? Like, I talk to a lot of people who they are like, I'm not like you, Kathy. I just can't go up and talk to anybody. Like, what do you say to people, especially younger people who may be a little intimidated by the field? Maybe they don't feel like they have enough to contribute yet, or they can't get in on the conversation. What kind of advice would you give them?
Hmm. I'd say just listen in. If even if you don't want to like talk, just like find a little group, just kind of find your way in there and start listening in, and you're gonna see like someone's gonna be like, "Hey, like, what are you doing? You wanna like, what are your thoughts on this?" And like you'll see that you'll like fit right in. That's one of the things that I've faced a lot of the times, especially when I was first getting into like in person networking events. I had this amazing mentor, and she's like, "Hey, like, come to these events." I was like, "Okay." Like, I didn't really know what to expect. I was like the only like young girl my age that looked like me, like at this event. I was like, I didn't really know what to do. So what I did, I just kind of stuck around. I just kind of watched people, and as you get a little closer, you see a little group. And as you're walking around, like, even if it's just like listening in, like they'll invite you to the group, and you'll be able to like voice your opinion and be like, "Hey, like, this is what I think." And if even then, like, that's like one of the best things that you could do. But if like another thing that I'd definitely recommend is just kind of going up to people and be like, "Hey, can you tell me more about like your story? Like, how did you get there?" People love to talk about themselves. Like that's 100% like proven. So just go up to people and be like, "Hey, like, what do you do?" And you'll see like you'll hit it off with people and you'll make amazing connections.
So you said when you went to a couple of the conferences, you didn't see a lot of people that look like you. And I have seen like a huge shift probably like really recently in the past 3 years, I would say, of more younger people going to cyber conferences, more ladies going. It's still not the majority,
Mm-hmm.
I know, and more minorities getting into the field. So you hit like all of those, right? You're young, you're a minority, and you're a lady. For the young ladies listening right now, you had mentioned in high school, you were like, one of five girls in the class. How did you get over that hurdle? And how do you even deal with it now when you go to conferences? What do you do to get comfortable being uncomfortable? What
Mm.
are some tips that you have there?
I would definitely find a buddy. Like, it doesn't matter. It can be another girl, it can be someone else, but find a buddy and you'll see that you'll be able to tackle, that in like that that little fear, that little intimidation that you feel when you go to those conferences. I definitely remember I want to say Black Hat, or yeah, I went to Black Hat like 2 years ago on a scholarship, and I was so scared because I was like, "Oh my gosh, I've never been here. There's all these fancy like booths and all this fancy food, and there's like all these people in suits." And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And here I am in like jeans and like a shirt, and like I know no one. I remember that I met this other college student, and his name's Merdon. And what's it called? We were talking, and like we were walking around the booths together, and it definitely made me feel a lot more comfortable. We were joking around, we were walking around, having fun, picking up the cool little swag, the plushies, all that cool stuff. I definitely recommend finding a buddy, finding someone, connecting with them, and just exploring the conference with them. That'll definitely make the experience 100 times better than going through the conference by yourself alone.
That's great. That's great advice. I haven't heard, I ask everybody similar questions like, what would you recommend and what would you do? And like, you're the first to say, find a buddy. And now that you say that, I'm like, duh, like, why wouldn't you do that? Like, that's like a really great idea. I want to thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
You were amazing and you were just a light in the industry. And I'm so excited to have you here. And I'm so glad that you're a part of it. Even if it is for a short while in the industry and then back to teaching, I think you'll be even more powerful in the classroom. So thank you for being here. And I hope to see you in season 2. Maybe you can come back after you've done some of your goals and we can talk again. That would
Yeah,
be great.
sounds good. Thank you.
Awesome.
I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. And for all the viewers and listeners, I hope you enjoyed this episode and I hope to see you again on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.